Okay. What is going on, my fellow nerds? Operator Odd here, and today we're going to be talking about the support gem Ambrosia, which can give us 150% gained damage as extra lightning damage, which for a lightning build, because everything is being scaled with lightning damage in our build, is very powerful, especially if we are using something like Lightning Conduit, and especially for Stormweavers who are able to double shock their targets. All of a sudden, Lightning Conduit with Ambrosia starts to become the greatest thing since sliced bread, because now we can legitimately one-shot an empowered boss with a desecration where the map boss gets empowered for every natural rare that you kill. It is absolutely disgusting, and there is no target in the game that cannot get one shot. It is awesome. But there are some rules and there are some strategies by which we need to do this. So, for those of you who have the attention span of a chickmunk, or you're an elite player and cannot be bothered to watch the entire video, I completely understand. I do that myself as well. Here it is. Here is the document. Go ahead and screenshot this. This is all the rules. This is all the stuff that you're going for. This is the mana flask acquisition, everything that's going on here. Enjoy. I'll see you in the next video. For the rest of us, if you want to actually see the math in terms of what we're doing, and then actually see the rules in action practically, and then actually look at how much the cost benefit is for the acquisition of these mana flasks, go ahead and stay. We're going to talk about each of these things, and then I'll let you off and you guys can have fun with one-shotting all your bosses. All right, so let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about the mathematics behind Ambrosia. Ambrosia states that supported skills consume 20% of your maximum mana flask charges on use, and supported skills gain 3% of damage as extra lightning damage per mana flask charge consumed. Where are the mana flask charges? They are going to be found right here. 127 charges is the maximum that you can get in the game. So if we go to our Excel sheet here, 127 times 20% equals 25.4. Because we have not bypassed 26, the game is going to round this down to 25. We then take 25 charges, we multiply it by 3%. This means that with one mana flask, we are going to get 75% damage gained as lightning damage to that supported skill. And if you run two flasks, it just doubles this effect. So now that skill is going to gain 150% damage gained as lightning damage. It is a very, very powerful support skill, and that is the mathematics behind how it is functioning. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the rules by which Ambrosia functions so that you don't brick your build. And the very first rule is that going to be that Ambrosia support gem does not work with invocation skills being cast-ons. Cast on crit, cast on ailment, cast on whatever. Like, it doesn't work with those. The skill must be manually cast for Ambrosia to take effect and consume the mana flask. So let's see what this actually looks like in practice first. So if we go here and we look at our mana flask, we can see that we have 127 charges currently here and 125 charges here. I'm going to go ahead and use my lightning conduit with Ambrosia in it. Now I have 102 charges and I have 100 charges. We have consumed 25 charges on each. That is how it should work. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put Ambrosia onto the cast on critical with lightning conduit right here. And we are going to go into this decay and we are going to go ahead and hit stuff until the cast on triggers up here. We're going to wait for it to hit 100%. So let's go ahead and go do that. Bam, we triggered it. Okay, now let's look at this. 127 charges, 125 charges. Let's go ahead and do it again. We're gonna need one more. We're at 98. And bam, triggered. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look. It has 127 charges, 125 charges. Okay, so with cast-ons, it's just not working. It actually has to be manually cast in order to take effect. As like I said, you put it here, we go ahead and cast it manually, and now we have consumed the 25 charges on both the mana flask. And that is how that's working. So just to make sure that when you do run Ambrosia, that you're not casting it on a cast-on trigger, it actually needs to be manually casted. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to actually equip two mana flasks. So the way that we do this, if I take this off, I cannot re-equip it. So how do I get it to work? Well, if you have a Wastegate, which is a very cheap belt, you can buy them for like an Exalted. They're super cheap. You take this, you equip it, you equip your mana flask, then you re-equip your original belt, you're good to go. Though the stats are ignored, this just means you can't use it, but as you saw previously, the Ambrosia gem is actually consuming the charges from this mana flask, so it works. Now, if you are a build that requires a life flask to function, obviously this isn't going to work very well. You need your life flask. But if you are a build that runs chaos inoculation, where we don't care about our life because it's 1 and everything's through energy shield, then we're good to go. And this is actually a very powerful utilization that we can use to our advantage to actually run Ambrosia and get more bang for our buck out of it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about actually acquiring these mana flasks through trade. So we're going to go to our Exile deck. Remember, the maximum possible flash charges are 127, but because the next breakpoint is 130 for 26 charges, 127 will only give 25 charges consumption. So this makes trying to go for the max charges on either mana flask economically inefficient. So for your increased charges rule, you need 67% for the maximum effect. So the best combo I found is that you go for 67% in the life flask spot, and on the mana flask spot, you go for 67% with 74 to 77% increased amount recovered. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So if you go up here and you do mana flask, and you come down here and you do increased charges 67 and you search, here you go. They're like 15 exalts. They're super cheap. Now this whole removes 15% of mana recovered from life when used. This is actually, you're dead on the spot if you use this on a usable mana flask. But remember, this is being put on this slot right here where you cannot actually use it if you wanted to, because it's kind of bugged in that way. So it doesn't matter. Like, you're still going to get the effect of it when Ambrosia is doing its thing, but you're not going to die. So yeah, you can go ahead and buy that one and you'll be just fine. For the second mana flask, this is going to be the one where you're going to have to cough up a couple divs if you want it, right? So let's go ahead and go for like 77%. And now you can see, like, yeah, there are quite a few divs. I went for 75%, and I was able to get one for 2 divs, and that's good enough. It's not too bad. Just make sure that you quality the flask, because by qualitying the flask, it's going to increase it from that 500 to the 651 mana recovered, and we will be using that mana flask, and that's essentially how you're going to acquire your mana flask and be able to do that. So just be prepared to drop some divs if you really want like a top tier mana flask. Anywho, that's all I have for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Go out into the world and conquer my fellow Stormweavers and maybe some other classes out there that may be using Lightning Conduit with Ambrosia or some other Lightning skill with Ambrosia. Have fun with it and do the stuff. And I will talk to you later. Have a great day. I have nothing else for you. Operator Otter, out.